It's time for Dart Talk. Brought to you by TheDartZone.com. Stay in the zone. TheDartZone.com is an official Cosmo distributor and Windy City Fabricators, America's premier fabricators of orthotics and prosthetics. And Redwood Darts, America's newest tungsten darts. Stand straight and tall and hit them all. Redwood Darts. And now, here are your hosts, Mystery Mark and Steve P.
Okay, welcome to Dart Talk.
Welcome.
Another day, March 19th.
Another dollar. It is March
19th. We're a couple of hours away from spring.
Yes.
So that
is true.
I'm looking forward to that.
So we hope.
I heard it was going to snow tonight.
It's supposed to. Yes.
Killing me with this. Steve Poncelman with Mystery Mark, brought to you by the Dart Zone.
Stay in the zone.
TheDartZone.com is an official Cosmo distributor. Also, many thanks, Windy City Fabricators and Redwood Darts. How you doing?
I'm all right.
How's that NCAA stuff going?
Just started.
Nothing like getting ready for the show is I like run around, make sure this works, sound check this, and you're over there like trying to get a 3-team parlay going. You had to wait till the first game was over.
I had to see what was going on.
Killing me.
So
Michigan State, Louisville, what did I say? Michigan State, Louisville, Florida.
And you didn't answer the fourth one.
Yeah. Florida and Michigan State for the title, unless they're going to meet in the semi.
Well, you just picked everything that ESPN picked, so you're right on course with
They're copycats.
So-called experts.
They're copycats. I don't know about that. I'll have to look. Arizona's the 1 seed in that other region.
Yeah.
And I didn't see anybody going to beat them. So, I don't know. Arizona. And then they lose in the semis to whoever they play.
Right.
All right. So, is Michigan State going to play Florida? Are they matched
up for the final? No, they would end up in the final.
Yeah, that's my final.
Right.
And then Obama took Michigan State, so I'll take Florida.
He did.
Okay, I'll take Florida because he's always wrong. We got a lot to get to. We got loads of results. If you guys look at the crawl, we have results from Vancouver, Canada, or Vancouver, British Columbia in Canada. Right, that's the province. The Bullshooter Regionals in Atlanta, Georgia. Right? They had the St. Pat's, the 28th St. Pat's Open in Indianapolis.
Did you do anything for St. Pat's Day? Oh, you were on the train.
Yeah, I was on the train, parked outside of Kalamazoo for apparently 3 hours.
Really?
The train was 3 hours late getting into Chicago. They say it's a single track delay. That's what they call it, where you sit there and you wait for somebody else to go by, which is better, I guess, than a collision.
Yeah, well then, yeah.
But no, it was late. It was late picking me up from Ann Arbor, and that probably threw off all the sequencing and stuff. So I got in at 2 a.m, and I'm like, oh well, now I can't even get like the little express bus down Lakeshore Drive, so I had to cab it. No, that was like kind of a drag.
Did you go to the bar car or anything, or what did you do?
Well, I did. It wasn't like, what's the Trading Places?
Right.
Like New Year's Eve train.
Party,
no, it wasn't anything like that. There were like one person with some green stuff on, but they were like sleeping with their feet in the aisle, and I didn't really feel like pinching them because they had a lot of green on. So, what do you pinch people that don't wear green?
I had never heard that. Somebody informed me of that on Monday.
Yeah, you pinch somebody if they're not wearing green. Yeah.
I just found that out this year.
It's one of the, it's a great holiday in Chicago. They dye the river green, and I went to St. Patrick's High School. We would get the day off, and we'd go to the parade and everything. But ever since they started with it's the 4th of July, but the fireworks are on the 2nd or on the 5th. Or it's St. Patrick's Day, but we're going to have the parade on the 13th.
Right.
And, it kills it for me. It's like, pick a day. Like, if they start doing that with Christmas, it's basically the end of the world. Yeah, Christmas is going to be on the 21st
it's always
this
on
year.
Make it always on a weekend.
Let's have a holiday. I'm just sort of like, kind of had it with that. No, so I was in Michigan for the North American Dart Championship, which is an interesting event, unlike any event I've ever been to.
Why is that?
Well, because they had this banquet. You were required to be at the banquet and everything. So
how was the banquet?
The banquet was actually I was pleasantly surprised. It exceeded, I didn't have very many expectations for it, but it exceeded all of them. And
was it worth it that it was mandatory?
Well, I don't know if it was worth it. I mean, there were people that might have come to play Sunday. I know at least 2 people that would have come to play Sunday, but knew they couldn't make the banquet on Saturday, so didn't come and play Sunday. I don't really see.
Okay.
I don't see the value. I understand the concept. I understand you want people at the banquet, but at the same time, it's like, well, why not just come Sunday, play, and go home? Because then you got to spend, Saturday night hotel night, Saturday night hotel money, and all this stuff. But the banquet was worth going to. I mean, I actually had like doubles on the chicken. It was pretty good. It's some cherry glazed chicken or something, and then they had fish that was pretty good, and dessert was good. Cash bar. They gave out awards. I was so irritated. I got nominated for Most Improved Player, which I had no chance of winning. But I was like, the worst
From
year.
last year?
Yeah. The worst year I've had in my tournament life was last year. I basically didn't come close to winning anything. A couple of semis, maybe. The year before, I lost like 8 finals or something. This year, it's like I didn't go to as many places. And then the tournaments I played were tougher. But at the same time, it's like somebody did that as a joke. And I just
Can you just nominate anybody for any of it?
Apparently.
Okay.
But, I mean, the winners, the people that won the awards were all well-deserving. Darren Young pretty much swept everything, and, why not? I mean, he had by far a better year than anyone else. Robin Curry won a couple of awards. It was pretty cool. I think Jim Long won Most Improved Player, which, great. I mean, he played good. He made the semis on Sunday, so that was well-deserving. I met some really great people. There was like these 2 brothers, Ron Miller and Bernie Miller, brought their wives, brought their children, and their children are like older, so you can talk to them and everything. Like they're like 20-something.
Older
or
than
something.
what?
Older than 10-year-olds.
Okay.
Who are different when you talk to them. You can't talk to them like adults. So they were just a lot of fun. I made some new friends. It was great. It was a great time. Darts not so much, but I actually played in the Friday night draw to try out my new shoes.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Right.
So my new shoes were fun.
I forgot about the new shoes.
Got new shoes. It was great because the old shoes. If I stood and chalked, my back would immediately start to tighten up in about 5 minutes, and it was like chalking was pretty brutal. But these shoes, it was fine. I had to chalk the first match on Sunday, and it went like I don't think it went all 11 legs, but it came close. I think it was like 6-4. At least 6-4. So I chalked 10 legs, and then wait. I was like the last person to play. They had to take one of the matches off our board and put it on another board because we had an extra match than a lot of other boards, so we were kind of behind anyway. So it was sort of kind of inconvenient. But we had 4 PCS matches we streamed.
I don't know if anybody's getting anything.
Okay. I don't know what to say about that. Tell them to hit F5.
Well, I did before, and
okay. I don't know why.
To be saying they got nothing here, and it's
see here it says we're live. So I don't know what the deal is. All right. Tell them to hit F5 a couple of times. Put it on. It's up there. It's live. If they're not getting it, it's their fault. Anyway, what's the deal? What was I talking about now? Okay, you see, you can't stop the show just because the people in the chat room can't get together.
Yes, anyway.
So I forgot what I was talking about. No, we had 4 PCS matches, and then we did a Canadian exhibition of doubles, which was like really fun.
Oh,
these guys were like
okay. You
very
told me about
jovial.
that one. You just told me about the 4 PCS.
Telling you now.
Right. What?
And then we were going to try to get the women to give an exhibition, like a women's.
Okay.
And it was all Canadians because the Canadians have been sort of like left out of the PCS. I had no choice, as far as doing it this way. So we had the Canadians up there doing an exhibition, and then we were going to get the Canadian women. Robin Curry was kind of late coming in because nobody really had to be there until 6:30 for the banquet. So some people came earlier, and people are traipsing in late. And then one of the women fell ill. Mm-hmm. So it was kind of like, well, okay. So we didn't get the Canadian women on there, which was too bad because they were lots of fun. Was it Maria Mason and Shelley Miller and Cindy Hayhurst and Robin Curry. We were going to just like pair them up in doubles and like the guys did.
Yeah.
So it was pretty funny. That's all on YouTube. Everything we streamed for the PCS and stuff is on YouTube, and the North American Dart Championship. I know the final is online, and I believe the semis are online. And
that's good.
Yeah, I saw something. I mean, they had a women's semi where there were a couple of 15 darts and lower games, and somebody was like, "Oh, you should have streamed that." I'm like, "Yeah, they should have." So it was kind of interesting. So I sat literally.
Why was there no commentary during the streaming
of the PCS matches? The problem was I had to sit there and put in the scores.
Oh,
and
okay.
I'm right behind the players. I'm like 5 feet behind the players, and I told them like right off the bat, I'm like, look, I could do commentary on your match, but you're going to hear every word I say, and I don't think that's going to really help you any.
Right.
So we didn't do the commentary. I could add some later. I thought about it. We could kind of, like we were going to do before. Remember, we did it, and then I hit the wrong button and it didn't get saved.
Yes. Right.
And then it turned out that like we were making mistakes anyway because there was like a chalk or a mistake when Mark Fair was going for 88 and he went for the 18, and I was like, oh well, I guess he likes 34 or something. It turned out he was on 78 and all that. So, I mean, I don't know. We're going to have to figure out a better way to do this. But the stream was very popular. People liked it. The players really liked it. I'm telling you, the players are like obsessed with statistics. Talk to DJ Sayer had the highest average of Saturday. It's like I think it was a little under 85, if I remember correctly, like 84 point something. And he's all gung ho about statistics. Oh, I want to be over 83, like Dax said, like a month ago on the show, because that's like the 18 darter. Yeah. I want to be above 83, and I want to beat Gordon's average, and this and that. And these guys are so concerned about average. I'm wondering if they're paying attention to the match. You know what I mean?
Well,
I mean,
that's possible. Yeah.
For steel tip players, nobody plays for average. Average never counts for anything.
Because in the back of their mind, they're thinking, well, all right, I'm on a 15 darter. I need to take this out.
Yeah. At one point, DJ had a 170 out with the guy on not even on a finish. Mm-hmm. So he goes trip 20, and he goes right for the bull. And I'm like, TV shot.
Yeah, of course.
That's a stream shot.
Yeah.
You would never – there's no reason to go for the bull there. And a lot of reasons not to. And, he goes for the bull. He was kind of laughing about it. We joked about it afterwards because we did some little interviews, kind of after the matches. And you guys can see them. If you go to darttalk.us and you click on the PCS results, click on the Players Challenge Series big icon at the bottom. And then in the left-hand side, there's a link that says PCS results. If you click on that, you'll see that the match report, some of them say match video, and you can watch the video of the matches. I put the stats up today, so hopefully they're correct. We had a little issue with the stats thing, but we fixed it. Although, my gosh, how much time I had to reconstruct one of the matches? It took like 3.5 hours. I mean, it was brutal, just brutal. And I'm doing it at home on this like laptop that just. These laptops are horrible now with these touch pads where I try to type and then all of a sudden it's typing somewhere else and all this stuff. I mean, I just drives me crazy. I have to do this stuff here. If I'm not in the studio, I can't get anything done right. So anyway, if you guys look in the crawl at the bottom, we have results from Vancouver, Atlanta, Indianapolis, and the North American Dart Championship. They even had a...
apparently nobody can hear us anyway.
Nobody can hear a word we're saying. Do they see our lips moving?
Nobody. Everybody in the chat says they can't hear or see us.
Okay, we're going to take a break and see if we could fix this. You're listening to Dart Talk with Mystery Mark Steve P., and we'll be right back.
Because nobody is.
Let's start doing the show again. We'll try to fix it later.
The views and opinions expressed on Dart Talk are those of the hosts. They in no way should be misrepresented, misinterpreted, or made to claim that the universe is against you, your family, your city, or the darting community at large.
Okay, back for the second quarter, brought to you by the Dart Zone.
Stay in the zone.
TheDartZone.com is an official Cosmo distributor. Also, many thanks, Windy City Fabricators and Redwood Darts. If you guys are trying to watch live and you can't get to the show, I took 2 minutes to try to figure it out, and I don't know what the problem is, but we'll have everything. We have green lights on everything we're doing here, so I'll have to figure it out later. But you'll be able to get the show. It'll be up, probably 10 minutes after the show is done, and our apologies, and I'll try to get, go ahead and post something in the chat room. I don't know. I mean, we have to do the show. I can't, debug everybody.
Right.
So we'll just move on. Also in the crawl, or in the news ticker or whatever, down at the bottom of the screen, we have the matches for the PDC, for the Premier League this week, and the results from last week. And we should say, after the relegation round of the Premier League, we're going to start a new contest on the show. And I don't know if we talked about it last week. The DartZone.com is going to make his picks and give them to us before the show.
I don't think we did talk about that.
Well, okay, we haven't worked out all the details, but basically we're going to put a form on the show where you could put your Premier League picks in, and they have to be in before the show starts. Mm-hmm. And then if you beat Bill's picks, and again, we got to come up with a tiebreaker. So I'm thinking total legs lost on the night as the tiebreaker.
Total legs lost
on the night as a tiebreaker.
By who you pick?
No, by everybody. Everybody who plays.
Okay.
Is a tiebreaker.
Right.
Because if you pick the same people he picks, I mean, what's the tiebreaker going to be? Mm-hmm. So I'm thinking, whoever's closer to the actual number without going over.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Right? Do it that way?
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll post the rules and everything, but it'll be something to play with. And then also, I will change the poll next week. So you guys can, make sure you vote. All you guys downloading the podcast and everything, at least hit the website once a week, darttalk.us. Go to some page, because the poll is not on the front page, but it's on every other page except the live broadcast page. So click around in there, find the poll, and vote. Okay? Just vote on whatever, whatever question we have. This week's question is, what's the biggest obstacle to growing the sport of darts? There's 5 choices: geography, culture, leadership, and whatever. Okay. There's 2 other ones in there. So go, have at it. You can only vote once. I mean, I'm pretty sure everybody's got 10 seconds that they can go and vote. It's very distracting not knowing what's going on here. But I don't want to stop the show and then try to deal with it, So let's just finish it, and
see what happens.
Everyone can be like, way to go, guys.
Yeah. Well, somebody earlier posted I can hear you, but then nobody else, I don't know who,
Yeah, I don't know. They can all, if you type in there, just ask them to hit F5 again. Maybe that'll work. I mean, I don't know. I did do one thing during the break that may help them. Okay. So if you type in, just tell the chat room to hit F5, and maybe they can catch up. As far as the North American Dart Championship goes, it was a pretty good darts all the way around. Some guys that people don't really know very well played very, very well. Eric Gregory played well. He had a good PCS match and would have had a much higher average if he would have hit some doubles. He totally smoked some guy 10-1. Just played great. And what I did during the streaming was I made sure we had a camera that was on the side of the Aki facing the players, so you got a really good profile look at the players for the people that kind of like to, look at mechanics and stuff like that. So if you guys check the video, and it's on the Dart Talk US. If you go to YouTube and search Dart Talk US, that's where all our videos are. Or you can go to the website, go to darttalk.us and click on the archive down at the bottom, the one with all the little pictures on it.
Yeah.
And if you look at the PCS stuff, and it's 5.5 hours long, but you could fast forward and stuff like that. And if you look at some of these profile pictures, some of these guys have like really incredible form, and then other guys you're kind of looking at them like, that doesn't look right to me. So I think from a instructional standpoint, it was good. I got some complaints they didn't like the side camera angle, and I'm kind of like, okay.
Did everybody not like it, or just some?
Just a couple of people said they didn't like it.
All right.
So,
speaking of which, why are the power rankings not updated?
The power rankings are not updated because Steve only has 2 hands.
Okay.
So basically, and I do not have complete results from a couple of tournaments. So I was hoping that I could have those done by this week, but I'll try to finish them over the weekend. So I took them off the
crawl.
I took them off the crawl. And then there was a question in the chat room, do the power rankings only go up to 10 or something?
Yes,
No, they go all the way down to, I don't know, 75 or 80.
But the crawl is only showing 10.
Yeah, the crawl's only showing 10 because there's other stuff to put in there. So, it doesn't do much.
Who wants to see number 74 in a crawl?
We will post them. If you go to darttalk.us and you click on the power rankings link, the top 10 scroll across the top, and eventually that's where we'll have everybody. Because I think it's nicer to have it scroll over than it is to just have this long list that you're constantly updating. I like this. I like this way better. And if people complain, I guess we could put it the other way too. But I just thought it was a nicer way to do it. And if it's slowing down the website, like on people's phones and stuff, then I'll get rid of it. But it seems like it's working pretty well.
Have you gotten positive feedback on the website?
Yeah. People like it. It's getting a lot of hits. It's almost 10,000 hits, and it's only but not even been
3
up a month.
weeks or something, yeah.
Hard to believe it took 2 years to get it up. I mean, that was sort of not a good thing. But it's...
Imagine how many hits we'd have if it was up a year and a half ago.
Yeah. Would you see it in the chat room? Just see if anybody is getting the show, because this is about as distracting a thing as I've ever seen. As a talk show host, wondering if anybody's listening, because we don't usually just tape it and then put it out there. No, but as far as the PCS matches went, there was some real good play. And, we did, people were talking about how come this guy's there, how come that guy's there, and it's hey, I think for a couple of the guys that played that, maybe didn't get the kind of averages that a lot of other people did, from what they told me, it was fantastic experience for them. To, play in front of the cameras, one guy was very, very nervous. But to play in front of the cameras, and then another guy was like, I'm so happy that I got a chance to see myself play a real match because now I know what I did wrong, and la-di-la-di-da. So from an instructional standpoint, I think it was very good. Mm-hmm. And for an experience standpoint, it did good for everybody. So, moving forward, the second round matches are going to be very compelling, I think. Although one guy David Flowers played really good, and a lot of people don't know him. So I was happy that we had a chance to get him on there. The problem with him is he lives in Vegas, and he's kind of on call all the time. So he's like, I may not be able to play another one. And I'm like, okay. Oh, yeah. Maybe you should have told me that before. Maybe you should have told me that before, you did it. So it was kind of nice. It was some guys are treating it like a new toy and everything. So that's fine. But the stats are up for all the matches. And I don't know. I think that's interesting reading for a lot of people. So that's good. I feel like you're ignoring me. I know you're, trying to get the chat thing going.
I think that is good. What else?
Okay, I can't. This is impossible for me to deal with it like this. So the streaming was good. The exhibition was hilarious. That was really a lot of fun. those Canadian guys. I mean, they're they're competitive, but they know each other really well, and there's a lot of camaraderie. A lot of camaraderie with those guys and stuff like that. So that was pretty cool. As far as the North American Dart Championships went, I mean, they had a singles event Saturday, like kind of a warm-up thing. And then they also had like a soft tip singles event that was split bull, open in, double out. So instead of throwing at the big bullseye, they were, trying to score on the triple 20, and then they had to hit a double to finish it. And I'm assuming that you could get out on a double bull. But but for the steel players, I mean, they're basically throwing at the same stuff they always throw at.
Right.
So I mean, that seemed pretty compelling. And the funny thing was, Bob Eve won. I don't know that he's ever played soft tip before, so I was kind of surprised by that. And we got the results down there at the bottom. If you guys want to see, I know Bob won, and he beat Terry Hayhurst in the final, and David Flowers came in top 4, and somebody else. I can't remember who it was off the top of my head. And the funny thing was, this David Flowers kid, he's got potential. He told me he had just gotten a full-time job and stuff, so his game's not really sharp, and he hasn't been playing a lot. But, he plays in, I guess, what I'm starting to call like a British PDC style, where he plays fast and, boom, 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 throw your 3 darts and go get them.
That's nice.
And then throw them again, so right. It's kind of funny. He told me after, I guess he told me Sunday, he looked at the video from his Saturday, from his PCS match. He's like, man, I throw really, really fast. And I'm like, well, yeah, you didn't know that? He's like, well, I didn't know I threw that fast. And I'm like, well, you're also playing a guy that's kind of deliberate. So you look faster when you watch the other guy who's, kind of taking his time and stuff like that. So I think...
Yeah, but even that, just by seeing yourself, probably in his mind at home or wherever he's throwing, he doesn't realize that it probably looks to him like he's just up there chucking 3 darts and like
I don't
speed
know.
darts.
I mean, we've talked about, pace of play before. I mean, there's advantages to throwing fast, especially if you're the kind of person that thinks too much, because you have no time to think too much. And if you know your finishes well enough where you know exactly where you're going to go, I mean, if you look at a guy like Van Gerwen, you look at Adrian Lewis, you look at all the top guys, they're not messing around. Mm-hmm. There are very few pros now that are on the slow side. And I think the one guy I would look at James Wade. And I would say James Wade is about average when it comes to speed. If you're slower than James Wade, then you're slow. Okay. And if you're faster than James Wade, then you're quick, and you don't really need to be any faster. I think he's got like the perfect pace for a player. Unfortunately, no one will see him in the Premier League this week because he's not playing in the Premier League, but that's kind of what I'm thinking the cutoff is. Where are we on time?
We're pretty close. We got a couple minutes.
Are we okay? What were we going to talk about? We talked about the banquet. We talked about the awards. We did we talked. Oh, who won?
Who did win?
Yeah, Darren Young. I should have put the little thing.
So he says he's going to win.
Yeah, he won. He beat Mawson 8-6 in the final. I watched the final fairly closely. Mawson had 2 darts at 32 to make it 7-7 and go into a deciding leg.
Right.
And it was he missed the first dart, and he must have missed it by more than he wanted to because he got off the line and totally reset and went back and kind of wired the 8-8, and Darren took out. I think Darren was sitting on 40. Took it with his first dart. So, yeah. And, those guys, they both played pretty good. Gary played really good to get there. I know he beat probably one of the – well, I'm trying to think if he played Jim Long. Who played Jim Long? Bernie Miller played really good all weekend, and he lost in the semi. I believe he lost to Darren, and Gary – yeah, that's right. Gary Mawson played Jim Long. And Jim Long kind of lost the triple there toward the end and wasn't scoring the way he had scored to get there. And to be honest, Steve Warnock had him beat. Steve Warnock had Jim Long beat, I think, in top 8 and missed some doubles and the deciding leg. And so that was the Canadians that came down played really, really well.
How many people were there?
Yeah, the turnout was dismal.
Was it?
Just dismal. And it was funny. And we'll get to this later in the show. I sent a bunch of messages out to people that weren't there asking, why weren't you there? Mm-hmm. Not to accuse them of anything. I just said, look, I'm just kind of curious, and you'll be surprised.
Did they respond?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I got answers back from about 9 people. And you will be surprised what their answers are as far as, why they weren't there and stuff like that. So we're going to take a break. We will come back, and what are we supposed to talk about now?
We got some youth to talk about.
We had a request to talk about something, so we'll get to that. Somebody wants us to talk about youth darts and growing youth darts and growing women's darts, which I think we've talked about before, but we can talk about it again.
All right.
Okay, so we'll be back in about 2 minutes. You're listening to Dart Talk with Steve Poncione, Mystery Mark, and we'll be right back.
Dart Talk agrees to adhere to the Geneva Convention in treating fairly its prisoners in their war against lackluster darting administration and behaviour.
Okay, back for the third quarter, brought to you by the Dart Zone.
Stay in the zone.
TheDartZone.com is an official Cosmo distributor. Also, many thanks, Windy City Fabricators and Redwood Darts. Awfully sorry, again, you guys trying to listen live. Well, it wouldn't do any good to tell them anything, I guess. So we'll just have to deal with it after the show. Our apologies, to everybody who's, trying to watch and chat at the same time. I don't know what the problem is.
It says
I'll
it's
figure it out
working.
later. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Everything on our side looks like it's totally fine. We got a big thing. It says good and all this. So I'm flying blind here, and I can't really deal with it and talk at the same time. So
True.
Anyway, we got a request from somebody that we should talk about growing like youth darts and women's darts and stuff. And to be honest with you, I had a long talk with Anthony Eugenia after the show on Sunday. Or after the show.
After the dart tournament, you mean?
After the tournament on
confused.
Sunday. Well, no, because
he was on the show once.
Well, yeah, because, it's kind of weird, and I'm not real sold on some of the decisions that have been made by people as far as, like, trying to get this thing going, get that thing going, and all this other stuff. I mean, I just don't think nobody's looking at it the way I'm looking at it. Let's put it that way.
All right.
And, I always think I'm right. So.
Well, of course.
But anyway, one of the things that, we were talking about with the youth stuff is I'm like, it doesn't do much good to focus on youth if there's nowhere for them to go when they're older. I mean, I'm all for youth darts. I think youth darts is great. I think, you have to get young people playing. if you want the score to, or if you want the sport to,
sure.
Continue to grow. You
Yeah.
need newer players, and you know what? I think for the most part, Americans don't take it up at 10.
No,
They take
right.
it up at 21, or
Well,
they take it up when they're in school.
yeah.
Like in college.
They play
or,
at
what
like
have
the
you.
age of 5 when they're running around the basement, with the metallic, or not the metallic, magnetic. Thank
Yeah.
you, magnetic
Okay.
darts and stuff like that. But then, then all of a sudden when they're 11 years old, they're not playing darts anymore.
I mean, when I was a kid, I had 4 brothers. I mean, at some point, I think we had one of those like really cheap dartboards with like kind of like the, the plastic molded shaft and flight, and then it had like baseball on the back and a normal dartboard on the front. You remember that?
Absolutely.
And I'm pretty sure, it was kind of like, my mom was like, "You're going to poke your eyes out or something, la-di-da-di-da." And I'm sure we hung it up somewhere. Nobody brought out like a tape measure or anything. And I think, maybe it was in the garage or something when we were like 9, and, we played it until the board fell apart.
Right.
And we played the baseball thing because it was the only game we understood.
Yeah, so do we.
Right? We didn't understand what
Exactly.
501 was, and if there were instructions in the box, we sure didn't bother reading them. But at least you're playing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it was funny. I threw some like witty darts.
What
too.
would that be?
Those witty darts are like the bulbous, like they're almost like balsa wood with like turkey feather shafts. And,
yes.
that was. I'm just looking at these things like, are you kidding me with this? And Anthony was telling me you do this like, I guess it's a Philly thing or a Pennsylvania thing or tri-state New York area, whatever. But they keep them in a potato in the bar. They have leagues that do this, and everybody uses the same darts. Here's how it works. You know how this works?
No, I have no idea.
You throw your darts in the board, and then whoever's next goes and gets them.
Really?
Yeah. I'm like, is that so they can like verify the score or something? And you only kind of throw at numbers 1 through 9, and you only throw it like about where the doubles ring is, and there's like a triple and a double right there. And I'm like,
this
okay,
sounds really weird.
Yeah, it's just, and I'm like, well, then why are the other numbers on the board?
Yeah,
is what I want to
exactly.
know. If you're only throwing it 1 through 9, why bother wasting the
It's
paint?
like a pinochle deck.
Yeah, why bother wasting the paint to put in all these numbers you're not going to use? Right? It just seems kind of silly to me. It's the same thing with like electronic boards. Like, why do they have wires? You could just have a blank space with no holes in it.
Exactly.
Right?
Right.
So why even have wires on it? Just from a design standpoint, I never really understood it. So whatever.
I never thought of that.
Yeah. So I got a flyer. This is kind of a tangent, but I got a flyer from the Illinois State of Illinois Championship. It's an electronic tournament. I guess it's in Decatur or something. So they have all the events listed, and there's no payouts on this flyer. And I'm like, is that how it works?
You're
You
just
just
going
sort
for
of,
fun?
oh, hey, there's a tournament. I'm going to go.
Let's go to Decatur for that.
Well, I mean, you got to have it somewhere. At least it's in Illinois.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, we'll get to that later in the show when we talk about, how do you decide, how to go to tournaments? Because why would you go to a tournament that doesn't even tell you what they're going to pay? And the payouts, I guess, I got them on Facebook. I mean, and they're a little different, so we'll get to that. But we're talking about the youth dart thing.
Right.
And, my attitude is like, everybody wants to do everything at the same time.
That is true.
It's somewhat chaotic. If all you knew about American darts was what you read on Facebook, you'd be throwing up your hands like, what a bunch of yahoos, right? Because this person wants this, and this person wants this, and there's no consensus on anything. And then the governing bodies are silent, right? They just don't say a word. So you're gonna like invest all this into youth darts. What happens when the kid's 18? They got nowhere to go till they're 21, and then when they're 21, what? Sick them on the diddle tour?
Well, yeah, right
and
now.
what for? Why would you play? What are you playing the diddle tour for? The diddle tour for, right? Is it to become a world champion? Is this your path to being a dart world champion? Is playing the diddle tour? I don't think so.
I wouldn't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so. You spend, 75% of your time playing doubles and triples, and then half of that time is spent playing cricket. So how much time are you really spending to become like, a champion dart player? Is like on a given weekend, very little.
Right.
15% of your weekend, 20% of your weekend tops, if that.
Yeah.
It's like really? Maybe that's why, we don't have world champions. That we don't produce world champions.
Let alone if you're just in league play, it's the same thing,
Well, league plays, for league play. I mean, people play for different reasons. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, you want to go hang out with your friends and play on a team, play on a team. But I mean, if you're going to go out and spend 4 hours in a tavern somewhere, hang out with your buddies and play 5 legs, I mean, that's not going to help you.
No.
It's better than not playing at all, but I mean, it isn't like a path to greatness. No, I think if you look at these British guys, I mean, the guys that are really serious and guys that really want to get good, they practice at home hour and hour and hour and hour, and they go out and they play as much as they can. That's how you become good, right? We have more options now. You can play online, right? If you're looking for a game.
Right.
I mean, I gave up on league a long time ago. I just want to rope somebody into coming out and playing, for 3 hours. And the funny thing is, I'll call up a guy and I'll be like, hey, want to get together and throw? We'll go somewhere and, we'll start playing. And then people will be like, are you playing league? And we're like, no. And then they're astounded.
That you're just out there playing?
Yeah, why would you be taking it so seriously if you're not in league?
Right.
Like there's nothing else. I mean, that's the ignorance level of darts in America. People don't realize there are tournaments. People don't realize that,
no, that's true.
It's a serious sport. It's just supposed to be like, well, you're in a bar, man. You're supposed to just kind of chuck them, laugh, joke around, and not know how to keep score.
Right,
yeah,
exactly.
I mean, it's...
Yeah.
So American darts has a long way to go. So the people that are focused on youth darts, great. We need something for youth darts, but until you build something for the youth players to go to, it's not going to do much good, the youth dart thing. You know what I'm saying?
I agree. Yeah, completely.
Okay. So it's just sort of... confusing.
I mean, the concept is great. Yeah, to get young people involved and they understand the sport, and then what to wear.
Yeah, and it's the same with women's darts. I mean, women's darts is a little bit different problem. I mean, for whatever reason, there aren't that many women playing. There aren't that many women playing in tournaments. There aren't that many women who travel, and I'm sure a lot of reasons for that is it's much harder for women to make their expenses.
Sure. Right. We've talked about that before.
Yeah, it turns into an expensive hobby.
Right.
You could take up golf. Right? Golf's a pretty expensive hobby. Right? So
it can be.
It's a little bit disconcerting to me. Everybody's insisting on, women's darts this, women's darts that. It's like they don't show up and play. Why have women's events at all? And my girlfriend plays. And she's going to be listening to this. Well, obviously, she's not going to be listening to it because I'm just going to hear about how messed up it is. But she loves to get out and play.
Yeah.
Right? And there's no reason that women can't play basically at the same level as the men. There's no reason why they can't. I mean, they don't. Women don't. Maybe it's because they only play women when they're coming up and they don't get pushed. I mean, I don't know why. There are plenty of women that could beat guys.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that if you look at the tournament averages of the top women, they're nowhere near what the men are.
Right.
I looked at at Lakeside. The women were barely averaging 60. We got everybody in the PCS, but one guy's averaging over 60. Right. So what's the reason for that?
Right.
I mean, nerves, pressure. Big stage, cameras. One guy had stage fright in the PCS. He admitted as much.
I would go along with more of what you just said. It's there. You only get pushed by so much. When all of a sudden a 60 average is good enough, and you're winning all the time because that's your opponent. That's who you're playing. If they played the men all the time, I would have to agree that they would probably, there'd be some women out there averaging 80s.
I mean, you look at Liz Tynan. Liz Tynan won the singles in Indianapolis. I think she won them both. And she was she couldn't really get it going in the other events, but she did well in the singles. And I'm like, well, that's really what you want. Yeah, she doesn't seem to take it all that seriously. She plays guys all the time.
Yeah.
Right? She plays her sister, who's a very good player. But outside of that, she's playing guys all the time. And she goes to Indianapolis with a relatively tough women's field. Kathy Salway was there. Kay Hoover was there. Linda Englund was there. She's a good local Indiana player. I'm trying to remember the other names that are in the crawl there. And, she sweeps the singles. I mean, that's pretty good. The guys' field was tough, too. And I was just kind of astounded because I kind of suspected that they would have more people this year than last year just because everybody knew that all these top guys were in Michigan, and they probably figured it was an easier field. Then they all show up, and it turns into a tougher field.
Right.
So, if anybody went there, I'm not accusing anyone of anything, but if anybody went there cherry picking, they might have been sorely disappointed. That's all I'm saying. If you thought you were going to show up and, Darren's not there, but I can beat all these other guys. I mean, I'm not sure how that worked out for anybody. But I do want to talk about why you go to tournaments and stuff like that. Where are we on time?
We got about 4 minutes.
4 minutes in this segment?
Yeah.
Okay. So with youth darts, I mean, I don't know quite. It seems to me, and I may be totally wrong, you can email the show, email darttalk@gmail.com, and correct me on this, but it seems to me that the youth events are more about kind of participation and, having fun, and it isn't like a real gung-ho, competitive kind of thing, especially like the younger players, which is as it should be.
Well, I was going to
right?
say, it shouldn't be that way.
It should be a fun thing to do.
You shouldn't have ultra-competitive youth darts that young.
The older kids, and I guess the cutoff is 12?
Okay.
Or, the cutoff would be 13, I guess.
From
12 and under and 13 and over.
Right.
So what if you're 12 and a half? You play with the 12-year-olds,
12 and under,
right?
Yeah.
Because you're not 13, right?
Yeah.
So the cutoff is 13. And then the older kids, I think, that's when you start getting competitive. And, you look at, I remember these two kids out east, the Gallaghers. I don't know if they lived in Massachusetts or, somewhere out there, like somewhere on the East Coast. But, one kid's 2 years younger than his older brother, and his older brother's getting into it, so he gets into it, and they push each other. And
that was close.
I know.
Close to a Freudian slip.
I've been
there.
misspeaking the whole show, but they're pushing each other, and that's how it is. Like in my family, I had 4 brothers. I mean, we kind of pushed each other with sports and stuff. I always try to beat your older brother and stuff like that. That kind of mentality leads to good play. Kids whose fathers play, I'm not sure that works out quite as well. Like trying to beat
maybe
your
not
dad.
as well.
Yeah,
but I can see the sibling pushing you is going to help more. But I mean, the father playing should help something.
Yeah, it should help. I think you're better off playing your brothers and sisters than you are playing your dad. And then as you get older, you kind of, I don't know, maybe it's psychological, trying to beat your dad. Like my dad was telling me when he was 50, he could beat me at tennis. And I'd just be like, what? Are you kidding me? I got a tennis challenge from somebody. Who gave me a tennis challenge? Neil Quennan's wife plays tennis. Mm-hmm. And I was like, we're sitting around, and you know how I am. And I'm like, well, you can't get one of my serves back. And, she's like a club player, so she's, accomplished. And
sure.
And I'm thinking, I used to serve awfully hard. And I'm thinking, I serve flat and outside on the ad court. I'm like, this woman's 5'3". There's no way she's getting over there to get this. There's just no way. And I told her, we're not playing on some slow clay bounce up to your head court. And she's like, well, now wait a minute. And I'm like, no. This is on hard court. There's no way she's getting to it.
So she didn't
she's convinced. We were ready to go out in the street and see. I mean, it's a good thing
Nice.
Bill didn't have any tennis rackets. It was kind of insane. But where are we with the chat room? Is anybody getting the show?
Yeah, there's some goofy stuff going on.
Okay,
People are saying that the clock is wrong and it's 3 hours late and daylight savings time and all this stuff. So
yeah, this clock is. I don't even know what to make of that clock. So I don't know where we are. I don't even know where we are in time with the show. I'm a mess, but we're ready for a break. Okay, we'll be back for one more segment. You're listening to Dart Talk with Mystery Mark, Steve Panacielman, and we'll be right back.
Dart Talk agrees to adhere to the Geneva Convention in treating fairly its prisoners in their war against lackluster darting administration and behaviour.
Okay, back for the fourth quarter, brought to you by the Dart Zone.
Stay in the zone.
DartZone.com is an official Cosmo distributor. Also, many thanks, Windy City Fabricators and Redwood Darts. And we're just having all sorts of fun here.
This is fun. Plus, I played the same disclaimer.
You did, didn't you?
Yeah.
So you're messing up, too.
I screwed that one up, too.
Yeah, this show's a disaster today. We're trying to get a caller in here. We'll see if he can figure out how to accept the Skype request. And in the meantime, like I was saying, I sent out requests to I don't know how many people to see if why they went to one tournament as opposed to another. Mm-hmm. Because there were a lot of guys that went to Indianapolis, and Indianapolis, to my mind, isn't that far from Michigan. It's not that far from Midland, Michigan. So it's kind of curious, especially with some of them, because they had played in PDC and NWDS and stuff like that. And why didn't you go? The biggest, most common response I got was that you got to stop that. The biggest, most common response I got was that they didn't know about it, or they were confused about
isn't that part
whether
of
they
their
had
fault?
to join this or whether they had to qualify for this and all this other stuff. And I find fault. I mean, why bother finding fault? I mean, the fact is that a bunch of people were saying that they didn't know about it. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I don't know how you could not know about it. Obviously, they don't listen to the show, right?
Well,
so maybe people need to be listening to the show. But it seems to me that if the darting community at large doesn't know about a tournament, since they all knew about Indianapolis, how did they find out about that?
Right. But even listening to the show might not give them enough time to plan to go there. I mean, we're not throwing a schedule out there 4 or 5 months in advance.
Well, maybe we should figure out that. Maybe we should start posting, events or something on the website, upcoming events. I thought about putting it on the crawl, but the crawl's already got so much stuff in it.
It would be
it's
better on
like
the website.
Put it on the website, like upcoming events and stuff like that. Because
events for the month of March, and
look, I mean, I don't want to reinvent the wheel. If you go to the website and you look on the left-hand column, you can get news from Arachnid. You could get news from, we got Dartoids columns on there. You can get, and we'll add stuff, but I mean, what are we supposed to do now? We're supposed to list every single tournament there is.
I was just saying
go to the website and here they are.
This isn't necessarily, I mean, maybe if you listen in 2 weeks before Michigan, you'd be like, oh, I didn't know about that tournament, but if you need more than 2 weeks in order to get work off or whatever plan, this isn't necessarily the best place to, figure out what's going on in June. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Let's see if we can get Andrew van Koeverdan on the line and see if he wants to weigh in on this. And if we can't, then we'll just keep talking. Let's see if
Andrew,
he's there.
are you there?
Hello?
Andrew, can
Hello.
you hear us?
Yeah.
Okay, you're going to have to speak up. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty well.
Okay, we've got live via Skype. We have Andrew van Koeverdan, one of the victors in the PCS matches on Saturday in Midland, Michigan. First off, Andrew, for the people that don't know you, aside from the fact that you're a young, good-looking kid, tell everybody a little bit about yourself and speak up.
All right. My name's Andrew van Koeverdan. I was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York. I've been playing darts now for about 8 years. I started when I was 17. I went to film school for a little bit, studied directing, took some writing classes and such. And other than that, it's darts, film, and photography. That's the life.
All right.
Very impressive.
Sounds fun.
You took it up at 17. How did you get introduced to darts?
Actually, my father had been playing for probably since he was about 17. My aunts, my uncles, they all played on the same team in the neighborhood. And, I asked him one day why he was going out like 3 nights a week, and he was always coming home with like a nice little knot in his pocket. And, he was always kind of showing it off, saying he won this and he won that. So I started following him to the league nights and just shooting in between matches. And then I would stay there for hours just playing with the guys afterwards, playing little games of killer. And then, I don't know, after about a month of shooting with my father every day, he was just like, listen, these guys need an extra guy. He put me on the team, and that was it. I fell in love with it. Went out one night with like $10 in my pocket, came home with like 200, and that was it. Changed my life.
Nice. Okay, and this was at the age of 17?
Yeah, 17. They actually they made a rule in my local league that since everyone knew my father, they all also knew that I was 17. So they had put a rule in the league saying that if I was caught anywhere on any league night drinking before I was 21, that I was out of the league until I was 21.
Well, that seems fair.
Sense, yeah. Right.
Yeah, I kind of prided myself even after turning 21 on. I got so used to playing sober that I don't need to really drink to play.
So, do you drink when you play?
Very, very rarely. Maybe like the Friday night luck of the draws or the Saturday night luck of the draws. But the early main events, I just can't wake up at 9, 10 o'clock in the morning and start putting them down.
Okay.
So, yeah, usually if it's the earliest events, I'm never drinking. But when it's the luck of the draw, I'll have a few drinks, hang out, and have some fun.
Okay, awesome. So, tell us about Midland. What was your experience like at the North American Dart Championships over the weekend?
It was great. I mean, I've been struggling with doubles for a bit of time now, and it's a mental thing that's just I got to get past. I'm sure you even said that you saw it. And watching the video over, I saw that, I was throwing at them a little different, like I was scared. But I had a great time in Michigan. There was a lot of competition. I felt I scored very well. Like, I felt I could have beat anybody in the room. One of those mental things, but, you got to hit the double to win the game. It was fun. The turnout was a bit disappointing. For the first North American Championship in God knows how many years, to see, what was it, I believe 41 men in the main event, and it was a little demoralizing in a sense. Guys like me that have been playing for only 8 years or so, trying to get out there and put his name out on that list, to just see 40 guys show up, I don't know, it was just messes with your head a little bit,
Well, there are 40 good guys. I mean,
Right. No, I'm not taking away from the competition at all. I love that. It's just the fact that, for as much as everybody complains, whether it's on Facebook or at league nights or tournaments, on how nobody goes to tournaments, and, there's not enough tournaments for anybody. There was a tournament this weekend where first place took $3,000 and, 40 guys show up. That's just, I don't get it. I don't know what the dart players in this country are thinking.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out that, and I reached out to a bunch of people, and for some, everybody's got a different reason. For one guy, it was way more expensive to go to Midland than it was to go to Indiana. Another guy, it was like a last-second thing, and he had a doubles partner he hadn't seen in a long time. A bunch of people said they didn't know anything about it, which I find hard to believe.
Yeah, in this day and age, with how often people check their Facebook and how often it's being talked about, it's hard to believe that you couldn't have known about it.
Yeah,
it's been going on for over a year, too.
Yeah, but a lot of people told me that. And people, I was really surprised that, they were saying that. So I don't know what to make of it. I mean, it seems to me like, there may have been some people trying to cherry pick. I mean, I don't know, thinking that all the good players are in Michigan, I'll go to Indiana and clean up. I mean,
yeah.
There may have been some of that. I know that there were a lot of events going on. They had the Canadians had like their Legion finals, which is kind of like some sort of league final, and then they had a ranked BDO event in Vancouver. Mm-hmm. There was a Bullshooter in Georgia, and then the Indianapolis tournament. I go every year. I mean, it's the first time I've missed it in like 5 or 6 years because I got to make a choice. So now you came from New York for this event. What was the hook for you?
How I looked at it was how I look at most events is if I can come out on top in one of these, maybe that'll be the day that my name gets out there. So how I looked at it, I was talking to you before, and when you told me that there was a chance that I could get a Players Challenge Series match, it was a little bit more motivation to go, and then I kind of just buckled down and I'd gone to most of the PDC events throughout the year. I went to Atlantic City. Atlantic City, Actually, what was it? New Orleans and Vegas were New World Dart Series, right?
Right, but that's part of the same thing.
Part of it, right. So yeah, I did the 3 of those, and I was kind of just set on doing the PDC events because I love going to the ADO events. I just don't feel like I'm gaining much from it. You know, I feel like I've become a better player just playing our local DPNY events rather than going to some of these other events.
Right. You're talking about like where they have doubles and triples and mixed this and half of it's cricket and all that. Is that what you're talking about?
And that's really what it is for me. I kind of learned how to play the game on cricket, not 501. So I've never been a big fan of playing 501. I can play cricket for a day straight, but 501 it is really a mental game. And I just felt that I'm not one of those type of guys that want to go and not play the best shooters. Like, I would much rather go to a weekend tournament and say, listen, I lost to Darren Young, or I lost to Larry Butler, and this, and, if I get knocked out in the first round, it happens, but the only way I'm going to get better is if I show these guys that I can compete with them,
Sure. I don't know if it was you or not. Were you extremely upset when you got knocked out on Sunday?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So that was you then. Okay.
Yeah, I scored the next match, and then I left the room for the rest of the day.
You seemed pretty upset. What was the deal with that? What happened that made you so upset?
It was a little bit of a lot of things. Mostly, it was the fact of how well I felt I played. I mean, in my match against Dan, all weekend I felt like I was really averaging like a solid ton per round, an 83 or a ton to 81, 85. I was hitting 1 triple per round, and in my match, I did the same exact thing. I crushed him to a double every game, and overthought it. I lost the match 6-3, and yeah, it was in my head. It was really bothering me. In my head, I look at it as like I embarrassed myself
because you missed a lot of doubles.
Yeah, to miss so many doubles and to come that far, and
it's the outer ring.
Huh?
I said it's the outer ring. That's where the doubles
are. Exactly. They're not as fun to hit as the triples, but they're the ones that make you the money.
Well, it's part of the game. I don't know who I was talking to, and the assumption somehow that because you beat someone to a double, you should win. Mm-hmm. I've never bought into that.
Right.
I've always felt that if you don't hit the double, you can't win. So the doubles are more important than scoring. Right,
and that's how I've always looked at 501 is I want to, if I could 180 and then take my time to set it up and take it out in 12 every time, that's the goal, But
well, that's a pretty lofty goal, like to be on a 9-darter every leg and futz around and turn them into 12s. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I get made fun of a lot. It's I really won't be happy until I'm averaging a 9-darter. So at some point in my head, something hopefully will click.
You're not calling from Bellevue or something,
if
are
you?
You
Average a 9-darter.
I was there earlier. I left a little early. I got out for the match in time.
If you average a 9-darter, I don't think anybody would ever play you again.
Well, this is true. It's I don't know what it is. I want to be the best. I've been playing for a long time, and I really love the game. I love the fact that people can travel the country to play a game and maybe make some money, maybe not make some money, but in my sense and most of our senses, for the people who say they're just going because they love it, the better you are, the less it's true. I feel that I should go to these things and place in events, but a lot of guys tell me also that I need to relax. I get myself a little overworked up, that I should just try and have a drink and settle down a bit, and I don't know. I never wanted to become that guy that has to have the beer or has to be 4 or 5 drinks in to play well.
I don't think that has anything. I don't think the alcohol has anything to do with it. I mean, I think what happens more is it's sort of like, when you start missing a lot of doubles, you start expecting to miss instead of expecting to hit them. When you're scoring well, you expect to score well, and so you don't sweat it. I think it's kind of mental. I mean, I got a chance to watch you play a little bit, and you scored pretty solid. I mean, Dan was having problems, and but your problems were all with the finishing. I mean,
Yeah,
it's just,
I was.
and you're leaving yourself on these awkward doubles where you're always on double 2 and double 1. I mean, nobody
Right.
wants that.
Yeah, just firing it down the board, and I felt like the only doubles I really was hitting that whole Players Challenge match was the double 1 or the double 2.
Yeah, you should probably not do that.
Yeah.
I'm
Not trying.
Just a little bit of advice. You should probably not do
just
that.
yeah, for what it's worth. I mean, that's just kind of my humble opinion. That I'm not that humble, but yeah, it can be a humbling game. So, what are your plans? For the rest of the year, what tournaments you planning to play?
Well, now I'm kind of tossed up in the air right now. I know we have Virginia Beach in 2 weeks. I was planning on going down to that. But after that, I would like to kind of get involved in a little more soft tip. I've only played in the 2 Shelty events at Vegas and this weekend, and the Darts Live event down in Virginia Beach.
Yeah,
back in October. Right.
Well, there's more of those this year. There's one in Dallas coming up. I don't know if they've filled it up yet. I know there's going to be one in Indianapolis. There's going to be one in Wisconsin. I don't know if they're doing Hawaii again. If you have
Hawaii is the last one.
Say that again. Hawaii is the last one.
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay. Well, I mean, I think a lot of that stuff is worth playing. I'm not a
Oh,
big.
right.
I don't know that I would want to play in a soft tip league, but I think the soft tip tournaments can be fun. It's just a weird.
Yeah.
They got different rules for everything. So
right. Like I had a blast playing it down in Virginia. I didn't know that was one of my problems. I didn't know the rules. I didn't follow the round out rule in cricket. You know, I'm used to playing a game of cricket where you never look to see what round you're in, and I couldn't figure out why certain guys were pointing so much rather than closing. And then I would look up and see, round 8 of 9 or round 9 of 9, and the game was over. I'd have more numbers closed. Yeah, after 9 rounds.
9 rounds?
It's 9 or it's 15 rounds.
Yeah, I think it's 15.
Maybe it was 15.
Yeah, it's not 9. But
oh, right. Yeah, 9 rounds.
It changes your strategy.
Right, yeah, it's a completely different game at that point.
It's an artificial limit. I'm not a big fan. I understand why they do it, but it changes the nature of the game. I equate it to that softball rule where if you hit too many home runs, from now on your home runs are outs.
Right.
That's the dumbest rule.
Yeah,
one of the dumbest rules I've ever heard. And these artificial limits.
The game would go on forever.
Well, yeah, because what they need to do is make you use wooden bats or something else. Yeah. I mean, as opposed to here, use these loaded bats that are like trampolines or tennis rackets. And then, it's just dumb. But
yeah, there's a lot of different rules in soft tip that I've never really understood. Like I've never understood what this freeze rule is.
Yeah, the freeze rule.
Soft tip is a very different game.
Yeah, you just need somebody to explain it to you that's kind of like doesn't use a lot of words.
Sorry.
They taking you back to Bellevue or what?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're looking for me. I'm hiding in the alley.
There's the crazy 9-darter guy.
There's the 9-darter guy.
Get him. Get him.
They gave me a 10 o'clock limit to be out, so.
So, and here's the other thing I had to ask you, because this was funny. I'm putting in the names at the beginning of the match for the PCS match. He knows what's coming. I got to tell Mark this stuff.
Okay.
So it's Andrew van Koeverdan. So I ask him, I'm like, well, how come some people have like big V's in the van and some people have little V's? And he's like, oh, it's like some clan thing, or I'm Dutch. And I'm like, okay, fine. So he posts on Monday, oh, hey, I just found out I'm supposed to have a little V in my name.
Really?
And I'm like, so what was the deal with that? You're related to like Van Barneveld or what? How did this come about?
All right, there's a Canadian kayaker up in Canada. His name's Adam van Koeverdan. And I don't remember what tournament it was. I was speaking to Judy Seneve.
Yeah.
And she asked me, she was like, she kept randomly calling me Adam, and I just reminded her, I was like, my name is Andrew. And she said that, she's like, she kept getting it confused because one of their big national heroes was this guy, Adam van Koeverdan. And same spelling as my last name. And I told her, I said, yeah, he's
he's a big, strong, strapping male.
Oh, right, yeah. And I told her, I was like, last time I remember was they him and his family had come down to New York maybe when I was 3 years old.
The kayaker
And I
dude?
told say again?
The kayaker?
Yeah, the kayaker, and he actually is related to me. He's my cousin.
Oh.
So what happened was Judy told me, she's like, well, he's on Twitter, maybe send him a message and reach out to him. So I thought I had him on Facebook prior to that, but I guess I didn't, and I sent him a message on Facebook, and we were chatting back and forth trying to figure out aunts and uncles and grandfathers and such. And then his mother sent me a message on Twitter saying, she said, it makes such a difference with the capital V and the space. And then we just, again, had back and forth. And he was like, I sent him the picture of my family crest, thing I was going to get tattooed. And he was like, yeah, we're related. He was like, by the way, you're spelling your name wrong. So, and that was kind of it. So, and then I threw up on Facebook, that I've been spelling my name wrong for the last 25 years.
Nice.
And then I had to go change it on the website.
Yeah.
And I had somebody else's wrong too. And I was like, what is going on with this? So I don't know. I just kind of found that funny. So your parents didn't know?
Was my question, is your whole family's been spelling it wrong?
What it was is my grandfather and his brothers, when they actually came to Canada from Holland first, and some of his brothers and sisters stayed in Canada. Two of his brothers went and moved to Minnesota, and then he came to New York. And I guess both my grandfather and my father passed away. So from what my aunt and uncles are saying is that that's probably just how they wrote it on the ID when he first came to America, just the capital V and a capital K.
Some ignorant American.
Exactly.
Must be a capital. Okay. So it's a small, so now it's you have to do AVK, you're going to use a small V there, or you're going to go big?
I'll probably, a lot of people are giving me some jokes about changing my shirts and such, but the two shirts that I wear that I had made myself, the whole name is in capital anyway.
Okay.
So.
Because I had a solution for you.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Go A5K.
A5K?
Yeah, because like a Roman numeral 5 is a V.
Okay.
Go A5K. No one else will have that. No one else will get it but you and I.
Right.
And then
it'll
look very interesting.
Sure. Something I doodled up yesterday. Me and my buddy were looking at Michael Van Gerwen's logo and how he has the V in the M going with the G.
Yeah.
So I kind of doodled something up along those lines last night for an AVK.
Why do you want to imitate him? He has like no hair. He's not as tall as you. I mean,
this is very true.
He doesn't average a 9 darter. I mean, why would you do anything he does? He wears those ugly lime green shirts.
Yeah, that is
come on, you could do better than that, man.
Yeah, I'm more of a black and white kind of guy.
Okay, well, we can talk about that. We'll talk about Virginia Beach.
Yes, definitely.
Okay, anyway, we're going to wrap it up for tonight. Thanks for dropping in. A5K.
Thanks for having me.
A5K.
A5K.
A5K, I think, is good, to be honest with you, for right off the top of my head. At least it's different.
Makes it sound like he's a runner.
Yeah,
Maybe you
right.
could put the 5 backwards. You know?
Oh, like the actual number 5.
Yeah, well, yeah, what did you think?
Or you
Like
put the V backwards.
FIVE?
Yeah, I thought we were talking about the V, the Roman numeral V.
Yeah. But instead of the Roman numeral, actually put the number 5. But then since you're young, flip it around like a mirror image of the 5, so the 5 is backwards. And everyone will come up to you and be like, what does that mean, man? And then you give them the story, and you'll have a unique logo. I mean, you know.
I'll just tell them I'm not really sure. Steve pronouncement.
Well, okay. You can do that, too. Send them to the show. Send them to the website, darttalk.us. Anyway, don't let the Bellevue guys with the butterfly nets catch you, man.
And they just passed by again. I think I should be good for one more loop around the block.
Okay. Well, thanks for stopping by and chatting with us. I hope you come on the show again. Well played in Midland, and we'll look forward to your next PCS match, wherever that may be. We'll be doing the draw after Virginia Beach.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Oh, why? Those were the last matches of the PCS?
The last first round matches will be in Virginia Beach, which is a good segue because I did want to announce those. They're tentative for now, but I think what we're going to have in Virginia Beach is we're going to have Jimmy Widmeyer play Stowe Bunce.
All right.
And because Jimmy couldn't make Syracuse,
right.
And then we're going to have Alex Reyes play Gary Mawson. Mawson couldn't play
very
the
nice.
Florida thing, and Alex Reyes wasn't in Texas for the Texas thing. So that's what we have right now, and they should be good matches. Hopefully we'll be able to stream them and everything, and people will enjoy them. I'm
very excited. Yep, I'm hiding again. They're looking.
Are you
I'm very excited.
It sounds like he's like in a bus depot or like right by a firehouse.
Oh, I'm in Manhattan right now. I'm over at Percy's in Manhattan. We just finished up our PDSL matches.
Is it raining? Because when you first got on, it sounded like you were in the shower.
Oh yeah, it's been pouring on and off.
Okay.
So you're standing out on a street corner in the rain, talking to us
No,
about
I'm
averaging a 9-darter.
Like a little walkway.
And avoiding the straitjacket.
Yeah, there's no way he's sober.
A little. Oh yeah, I got the straight jacket under the jacket. If that was just out in the daylight, that'd be it. I wouldn't be on the phone anymore.
So what? You got a headset then for the phone then, because it's straight jacket. You can't hold the phone, right?
Right.
Oh, okay.
Well, I'm just popping it up between my shoulder and my head. So you guys are gonna have to end the call. I can't hang up.
Yeah. They'll hang up for you when they put you in the ambulance. Yeah.
Thanks for coming on, Andrew. We'll talk to you in Virginia Beach in a couple of weeks.
Thank you, guys. It was a pleasure. Thank you again for that opportunity in Midland.
Oh, we enjoyed it, man. We'll see you next time.
All right. Thank you. Have a good one, guys.
You too.
Thanks.
All right, so that's Andrew van Koeverdan from Manhattan, kind enough to join us.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny. I mean, here's a guy who wants to be a top player, so he goes to Midland,
Right.
And then, a lot of guys, it's funny. I mean, people play for different reasons. You play for money, you play for glory, you play for fame.
Yeah.
You play to improve your game, you play to have fun, you play to go see the people that you always see when you go to this tournament every year. I mean, there's a way to keep everybody happy. We'll just have to figure out
I think
the best formula.
Out of all those, I mean, I like his attitude just because, he's like, win some money if you can, but he wants to be the best. And, if you are the best, eventually the money will come. So it's like, he's picking the tournaments that he thinks is going to best help him get to certain goals.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. He scores really well. His finishing, I played him in Vegas at the NWDS. He was in my round robin. And, his scoring was right there. I don't know. I think we played like 5 legs, or I think we played 5 legs, and he was like pretty much averaging, a triple a turn at least. And then he would get to, below like 150, and all of a sudden it was like a different player. So when he figures that out, he's going to be...
Might have to change his practice routine.
Well, hey, it's not just about scoring, but, he's young.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like his opponent, Dan O'Leary. Guy's only been playing a couple of years. He's got nowhere to go but up. Some of these guys you see, they've been where they're going.
Yeah.
They're not work. They just sort of play. They're not like trying to get better and all this other stuff. They kind of just maintain. So it'll be interesting to see how that works out. I think the talent from when I started, really going on, tournaments a lot, 4 or 5 years ago versus what it is now, I think the level of play keeps going higher. That's the weird thing. Because, there's people playing a lot, and there's stuff to play for. Like he's talking about Soft Tip, America's Tour, and all this stuff. I mean, we're lucky that there's stuff to go to. But, if we had something coherent and cohesive and kind of, intact, where everybody could go, then that'd be, I guess that's the next step. I mean, how to do it is, I don't think there's a consensus on that. I think I have the solution.
That's a tough question.
Don't know about that. Anyway, let's wrap it up for tonight. Right. We will stay in the chat and try to resolve what the issue is because I have no idea what's happening. But we thank you for listening.
Only got one guy chatting.
We will be back next week. Hopefully, you'll be able to see the show live. We'll be back again 8 o'clock next week. You got anything?
Wait, hold. We are?
Yeah, next week.
Oh yes, I'm sorry. It's the week after.
Yeah, we may go dark in 2 weeks.
No, that is correct.
Right. I may be traveling, and we may not be able to do a show unless we could figure something out. But
my bad.
We will be back. 8 Central next week.
Right.
Thanks everybody for listening, and you can always email darttalk@gmail.com with describe your frustration not being able to watch the show live today. I'm sure I'll hear it when I get home. Okay. Again, thanks everybody, and we'll Dart Talk to you next week.